When brothers feud in wrestling, it's usually good for dramatic television and championship opportunities. But when one brother loses a massive title match, and the other brother decides to show up and twist the knife with ruthless mockery, you've entered peak sibling rivalry territory that makes your Thanksgiving dinner arguments look like gentle disagreements. Jey Uso allegedly haunting and mocking Jey Uso after his brutal loss to CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship is the kind of family drama that makes the Bloodline storyline continue to be wrestling's most compelling saga, assuming this actually happened and isn't just creative speculation disguised as news. Let's establish what actually went down at Saturday night's main event before we dive into the supposed haunting and mocking, because context matters when we're talking about family betrayal and championship heartbreak. Jey Uso, who's been riding the Main Event Jey wave for months now, challenged CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship in what should have been his crowning moment. This was Jey's opportunity to prove he wasn't just Roman Reigns' former lackey or Jimmy's twin brother, but a legitimate main event star who could carry a World Heavyweight Championship. Unfortunately for Jey, CM Punk had other plans, and those plans involved retaining the World Heavyweight Championship and sending Main Event Jey back to the drawing board with another big match loss on his resume. That loss stings extra hard because of how much momentum Jey has built over the past year, transforming himself from the Bloodline's right-hand man into a singles competitor with his own identity, entrance, and fan base. Coming up short in this title match represents a significant setback in his journey to prove he belongs at the top of the card. Now here's where Jey Uso allegedly enters the picture to make an already bad night even worse for his twin brother. According to the sensational headline, Jey showed up to haunt and mock Jey after this devastating loss, which, if true, is the kind of psychological warfare that only family members can truly execute with maximum emotional damage. Nobody knows how to hurt you quite like someone who shared a womb with you for 9 months and has decades of material to use against you. The dynamic between Jey and Jey Uso has been one of wrestling's most interesting relationships over the past few years. They were inseparable as a tag team, the Usos, dominating WWE's tag division for years and having some of the greatest tag team matches in company history. But when the Bloodline storyline kicked into high gear and Jey started getting singles opportunities while Jey remained more in the background, cracks started forming in their brotherhood that eventually led to a full split. If Jey is now actively mocking Jey for losing the biggest match of his singles career, it represents a complete inversion of their original relationship. Jey was always portrayed as the more loyal twin to Roman Reigns, the one who never questioned the tribal chief, even when Jey started having doubts. Now, with Roman's empire crumbled and both brothers trying to forge their own paths, Jey potentially using Jey's championship failure as ammunition for mockery shows how far apart they've grown. But let's address the elephant in the room that's doing the yeet gesture ironically. Is it actually time for WWE to move Jey Uso away from the main event scene? That's a controversial take that will have fans divided faster than the Bloodline at a family reunion. But there are legitimate arguments on both sides of this debate that deserve consideration. The strongest argument for moving Jey down the card is that his continued presence in the main event is blocking opportunities for other deserving stars who need that spotlight to develop. Main Event Jey has been in the title picture in some capacity for months now, and while he has the credibility to justify that position after his year-long character evolution, it does take valuable television time and storyline focus away from other talents. Braun Breaker is the most obvious example of someone who could benefit from Jey stepping aside. Breaker has been on an absolute tear since arriving on the main roster, looking like a future world champion in every appearance. With him disposing of Seth Rollins and establishing himself as a dominant force, now would be the perfect time to elevate him into the World Heavyweight Championship picture. But as long as Jey keeps getting title opportunities and main event matches, there's less room for Breaker to ascend to that level. Beyond Brecker, Raw's roster is loaded with talent that could use time in the spotlight. Even a high-profile singles feud with Jey Uso would help elevate mid-card stars and give them credibility through association with someone who's been featured so prominently. From that perspective, Jey moving away from the title scene could actually be beneficial for the overall health of the roster and creating new stars. The other major argument for pivoting away from Main Event Jey is simply audience fatigue. When Jey started his singles run and feuded with Roman Reigns, his underdog story was legitimately one of the best character arcs WWE had produced in years. Fans were completely invested in his journey from loyal right-hand man to independent competitor, finding his own voice and identity. His entrance became one of the most viral moments the company had seen in ages, and his merchandise sold in record numbers. But here's the harsh reality of wrestling. What's fresh and exciting eventually becomes repetitive and stale if you don't evolve it. While fans still enjoy Jey's entrance and support him as a character, there's growing sentiment that it's all become a bit too familiar. Many fans now complain that his entrance takes too long, which is the kiss of death for any wrestler's signature moment. When people start checking their phones during your entrance instead of singing along, that's a problem. The underdog character that resonated so strongly a year ago has become somewhat redundant because fans don't want to see the same story play out over and over again. Jey challenges for a championship, looks strong in defeat, bounces back with determination, challenges again, loses again. It's a cycle that works for building sympathy up to a point, but when there's no payoff in the form of an actual championship victory, it starts feeling less like storytelling and more like spinning wheels. This repetitive booking has led to a portion of the fan base viewing Jey as either boring or as someone being forced on them by creative who's convinced he's more over than he actually is. That's not Jey's fault. He's working hard and delivering quality performances. But when booking doesn't evolve with audience expectations, even the most talented performers can suffer from diminishing returns. The counter-argument, and it's a strong one, is that Jey Uso has earned his position through hard work and genuine connection with audiences. His transformation from tag team wrestler to single star wasn't handed to him. He worked for it and created a character that resonated with millions of fans. Moving him down the card right when he's finally getting his moment could be seen as giving up too soon rather than finding creative ways to refresh his character while maintaining his main event status. The Jimmy Uso element adds another fascinating layer to this discussion. If Jimmy is indeed mocking Jey for his championship failures, it sets up a potential feud between the brothers that could be the creative refresh Jey's character needs. Brother versus brother with real emotional stakes stemming from Jey's championship disappointments could reignite fan interest and give both twins meaningful